Right, hello everyone, my name is Kieran from Red Devil Weekly and we are live once again to talk transfers. Manchester United have been busy in the market so far, or at least the rumours at Manchester United are being busy in the transfer market are well in full flow, and I want to talk about them because I haven't really done a proper live transfer debate stream for this transfer window. Obviously I did the Jadon Sancho video a few days ago now, but I haven't actually done a live stream where you guys can, give me your thoughts directly and I can interact with you and ask you questions and stuff like that. So I thought I'd do that today, and we've got a few different transfers on the agenda. Jadon Sancho, of course, is the main one, but we're also going to be looking at Dean Henderson and also a little bit about Jack Grealish, but obviously that'll be more a debate as to whether we need him as a player or if there are other options we should be looking to bring in. But we'll get to that in just a second. Before we get into it, please do leave a like if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new, and most importantly, if you're watching the video, make sure you leave your thoughts on anything that is discussed in this video, whether it's Sancho, Henderson, Grealish or anything else that is brought up in this video, in the comment section below. Who do you think Manchester United should sign to make it a successful transfer window? Make sure you let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. But without further ado, we're going to get straight into it. First of all, thank you to Liam, United Fan Army and Footy Live for coming. Thanks for joining, guys. Really appreciate it. I will be opening the phone lines on this as well very, very, very soon. But I'm going to give my thoughts on it first, if that's alright. Just give my thoughts, my opening statement if you like, and then I'll let you guys call in and give your thoughts on any Manchester United transfer news. And I thought I'd go live as well because, as you probably have noticed, I didn't do a match reaction to yesterday's game, and it was a decent 2-1 win. The performance wasn't great, but obviously we got the win in the end, which is great for morale, I guess. That was pretty much it. There wasn't that much discussed in my video, and there's not really that much to discuss about the game. We played a weakened side and we played poorly, and we know how bad our depth is, so it wasn't really too much of a surprise that Martial had to come on and save the day once again. So it wasn't much to talk about in that game. So in the end of the day, even though I did do a preview and it didn't really, I don't know what happened. For some reason, people were watching the the video live yesterday, the premiere I should say, yesterday, and it was just a picture of my face. For some reason, the video froze and never unfroze. So I apologise about that. I don't know what happened with the YouTube premiering system, whatever. It's kind of cocked up. But at the end of the day, I thought, you know what, I'm not going to bother doing another one, to be honest with you. If you've got any questions on my thoughts on tomorrow's game, feel free to leave them in the live channel. We'll answer them for you if you desperately want to know my opinion on the game. But ultimately, it was a bit of a nothing game, to be honest with you. So I don't think there's much to be said, but there's a lot to be said about Manchester United transfer news. So as I go through, make sure you get your comments in. Make sure you give me feedback on what I'm saying. Do you reckon I'm... what's your opinion on because the transfer window is probably one of the most opinionated places to be as a Manchester United fan, and as a football fan, really. Like, a lot of people, arguing over what player we should sign, what players we shouldn't sign, who's going to flop, who's going to be a success. And it's a very exciting time, but it's also a very exhausting time, especially for United fans. So get your thoughts in. Make sure you get your thoughts in and interact. I'll call you on Skype, man, no problem. I'll call you on Skype when the time's right. Sifo, thanks for joining, mate, appreciate it. Gabriel rejected United for us, yeah. Listen, look, Gabriel, in the end of the day, I didn't see too much of him, and I'm not going to lie, I was one of those people that said, I think we do need to bring in a centre-back. So the fact that he's probably going to go to Arsenal rather than us, yeah, it's a little bit of a kick in the teeth, but in the end of the day, we haven't really seen too much of this player play. So we'll wait and see, Sifo. We'll wait and see, man. We'll wait and see whether he'll be good or not. But I'm going to get into it. Obviously, Jadon Sancho is the main one we want to talk about. And that deal seems to be stalling a little bit, according to reports. Some people suggesting that it's a bit of a ploy by the media. It's a bit of a ploy by Manchester United to brief the media about the deal kind of stalling a little bit, just so that they get Dortmund to commit to letting United pay in instalments, because Dortmund reportedly want all of the money up front, which would mean 120 million euros or 100 million pounds for Jadon Sancho up front, which, if we were to pay it, obviously, it'd be a one-time payment and we wouldn't have to think about it again, except obviously his wages. But it would mean that realistically, how many other players are we going to bring in of any note if we pay all that money up front? If we were to pay it in instalments, we could probably look at bringing in another quality player, at least one or maybe even two more brilliant players into the club that are going to help us challenge next season. But in terms of our budget, yes, probably we have decent funds. Usually Manchester United is a club that has a lot of money to play with, even in the midst of a global pandemic. I just feel like if we paid Borussia Dortmund all the money up front, I don't see us going in for any more players of any sort of quality. Yes, you could look at some decent players coming in, or maybe some squad type players, but I doubt you'd see any world beaters coming into Manchester United if we did pay that amount of money. So I think that's what the board are looking for, and also they always like haggling. Issa says Sancho looks like a done deal. Hopefully it will be finalised within a few days or so. Personally, I wouldn't want Grealish. Squad depth is more important, but he won't be guaranteed game time at United for me. That's true, very, very true, and we'll get on to Grealish in just a second. But yeah, to be honest with you, spoiler alert, I agree. I do agree with that. But we'll get into Grealish in just a second. But yeah, Sancho news, I guess, is just that talks are still ongoing with both the clubs. I'm not in the know person or anything, but obviously what I'm getting from the reports you see on social media and on articles on the internet is that Sancho to Manchester United is edging closer, but talks are still ongoing. Nothing has been, concrete agreed, except potentially personal terms. Some highly respected outlets are reporting that personal terms have been agreed between the two clubs and Jadon Sancho, and it's just about the structure of the deal. And if it is, then you can probably look at that and say that this deal is just going to happen. It's a matter of when, not if. But that's my thoughts on Jadon Sancho, really. I think he'd be a great addition, but I think we need to make sure we're not ripped off for this. Some people are saying we just need to pay the money, but for me, I think it is somewhat important that we use our funds wisely and exploit this time in the market, because we have got an opportunity, because of our wealth and because of the budget we have, to exploit other clubs. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but the fact that other clubs will need the money more than we do for their players, and they'll probably have to sell some players to stay afloat. So we can exploit that point in the market, and if we don't exploit it correctly, then it's poor strategy, and that has to be looked at. But we need to make sure we're making the right signings and we're paying the right amount of money, because this is the sort of time where it really does matter how much money you're paying for a player. A few been getting in the comments, but yeah, Footy Live says I've kept quiet about my career tonight and all will be revealed. There you go, bit of a cliffhanger for you guys. When Tom comes on, he'll be talking about his future career. So there you go, bit of a cliffhanger for you guys. If you are watching, make sure you change soon for that. And I can see a bit of a debate in there about obviously Arsenal, Man United, Sifo saying that but basically, listen, obviously the Gabriel thing, yeah, we're going to cop a bit of banter for it, we're going to cop a bit of stick for it, but until he's actually played, we're never going to know what he's going to be like. We don't know what the geezer's going to be like. So in the end of the day, we can't really, we can take the banter, but we'll see what happens. In the end of the day, you can get giddy about a signing, but it's all about how he does, how he performs. So for me, nothing's done yet. Okay, we're talking about Jadon Sancho. My thoughts on Dean Henderson now, the guy who's in the thumbnail, and actually a bit of news which is linked very heavily potentially to Dean Henderson's proposed move back to Manchester United, is that Sheffield United had a bid rejected from Bournemouth for Aaron Ramsdale. Now, obviously you might think, what has this got to do with Dean Henderson potentially going back to United? Well, for me, you could potentially link this to the fact that Sheffield United are, on the looks of it, preparing for life after Dean Henderson. Now, obviously, these reports are unconfirmed. The clubs haven't confirmed that bids have been received or rejected. But if this is true, then why would Sheffield United be going out there looking for a replacement keeper, or looking for a keeper at all, if they were confident that Dean Henderson was going to stay? I haven't heard any movement on whether their backup keepers are going to leave the club. But if their backup keepers are going to leave the club, then maybe that's why they're bringing in someone like Ramsdale. But I'm also surprised, because I don't even think Ramsdale's better than Dean Henderson, to be honest with you. I think Dean Henderson's much better than Ramsdale. I think Dean Henderson's... I don't understand that, but obviously I don't think Sheffield United's budget is going to be that high, so maybe they're just doing what they can. But I think Sheffield United are worried that Dean Henderson's going to be leaving this season, so they're starting to, look at replacements. Either that, or they're briefing that they're making bids for other goalkeepers so that Dean Henderson makes his mind up a little bit quicker, because obviously if the longer the situation remains dormant, the longer Dean Henderson can kind of wait it out and then at the last minute leave, and if he leaves they don't have any replacement. So if they kind of try and brief and try and make it look like they're bidding for new goalkeepers and they're interested in new goalkeepers, and then Dean Henderson has to make a decision on his future, then it'll mean that this can all be sorted out sooner rather than later, and Sheffield United can get their business done, because we only have, less than a month before the Premier League starts again. So it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. So I think that's probably what's happening. But a question I want to put to you guys, and a question I'm going to put to everyone in the chat and everyone who comes on today on the calls, is Dean Henderson the right man to replace David De Gea? And a second question really is David De Gea realistically someone we should be looking at replacing? For me personally, I think there's a lot more weaknesses in our squad than we need to look at before David De Gea. But do you think David De Gea can win a title in this team? Is he good enough to win a title for Manchester United? Obviously in 2013 we got the job done with David De Gea in goal, but you could argue he had a much better squad in front of him. But in this day and age, at where David De Gea is at in his career, is he good enough? Does he have what it takes in him to win a title with Manchester United? Let me know your thoughts. And finally, Jack Grealish is the guy we're talking about. Now, there hasn't really been many rumours on Jack Grealish. Obviously, the last thing we heard was that the Aston Villa president or sporting director said something about £80 million was the lowest fee anyone was going to pay for Jack Grealish. 80 million British pounds. And that's just ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. For me, I think he's probably more likely worth, for it because he's still kind of young, he's not at the peak of his career, I think he's probably worth around 50 million pounds, maybe even 45, I'm not sure. But for me, 80 million pounds is too high. I mean, 60 million pounds is also too high, and that was quoted by a few sources. So for me, obviously a lot of people talk about Jack Grealish as someone we could bring in. I think he's kind of the same sort of ilk as the Maddison type, where James Maddison, he's shown a lot of promise in the Premier League, but is he ready to make that step up? Is he ready? In the transfer window before this season, in the summer transfer window of last season, there was some talk of Jack Grealish potentially coming to Spurs. Now that obviously didn't materialise, but I would have liked to see Jack Grealish in an improved team to see whether it would have been good or not. Or I don't know. For me, I think Jack Grealish is a decent player, but whether he played better with better players around him, who knows? And again, back to a point that Issa made, he's not going to get regular first team game time. So is there realistically a point of bringing someone in on that sort of money who's going to sit on the bench and be a rotation player? I don't think there really is. But anyway, that's my thoughts on those three players. I'm going to get into your calls right now, actually. So, if you guys want to call in, please do feel free to do so. I did promise Tom that he'd get the first one. But let's see. Read a few of your comments here. I love the debate that's going on in the comments. Keep it going. He's back. Kasim's back as well. United Fan Army. Make sure you check out United Fan Army. Really good stuff on there. And he says you're feeling good tonight. Good, man. Good. Well, if you are going to call in, I'll be interested to hear why you are feeling good. But it's good that you are feeling good, and if you guys are feeling good as well, make sure you leave a like if you aren't already, and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. But yeah, okay, we'll get Tom. I mean, by the way, I usually don't get calls on this early, but I think because it's a transfer show and because you've heard a lot of this information before, really it's about you guys, it's about your opinions. It's not about me blabbering on, it's about you guys. So I'll let you guys do the talking. And the first up is Tom. Tom, mate, thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate it. Yeah, well, first of all, I'm getting the feeling that you wanted to, talk about something other than the transfers to do with your career. Do you want to tell us what that was?
Yeah, I can do. Well, basically, I'm splitting my life and my time into two different parts. Really, I'm going into a career in tourism and everything. But actually, I'm basing it more on sports and everything. I've really picked up a passion for journalism particularly around sports and everything. I love sports. I love, in particular, football. And when I put it all together, really, I'm wanting to follow into sort of a media career. If I'm being brutally honest and everything, I've had a couple of interviews with some news outlets for England and everything, and over the computer and everything this morning, and it's just a case of if they get back to me and everything, I might be working for a news outlet on some sports stories, and they have different branches and everything for different sports. You know, they have a boxing branch, they have a football branch, a rugby branch, cricket, everything, and you cover sports really as a whole. And I would have to do a training course for 2 years, and then I would get offered a position at a news outlet or not. So it's a case of I might be working for a sport outlet maybe in the future, which I think is just something that I've relished the chance of getting the opportunity really in an interview. So I'm proud of myself for actually getting this far in my life. I've not exactly had an easy life, if I'm being honest. I don't really want to go into detail with it. That's just my personal life, really. But I'm just really, really happy with the way my life's going in more of a positive way now, as opposed to being really negative.
Yeah, man. Well, congratulations, man. That sounds great, and hopefully it does go well for you. Hopefully you get the position, and it's great to see you doing what you love and doing what you want, and it's really, really great for someone who I've only really known for a little while, but it's always great to talk to you. It's great to see that you're happy and that you're going forward in life and doing these sort of stuff. It sounds really exciting, man. Really, really exciting. So really good luck with that.
Thank you.
And hopefully it goes well. And I think I think you'd be perfect for that, mate. You'd be perfect for that. Absolutely perfect. A career in like sports media and stuff. So go for it. Absolutely go for it, man. I'm really happy for you. Really, really am. On to the transfers. And obviously we know your opinion on Jadon Sancho. Famously, you came on here a few days ago now and said that it's looking like the deal's not really happening. So we'll probably keep Jadon Sancho to the end. But one person I do want to talk about is a bit of recent news that's linked to the Dean Henderson transfer potentially that came out today, that Sheffield United had a bid rejected from Bournemouth for Aaron Ramsdale. Now, do you think that this could be evidence that Sheffield United, I should say, are looking at building for life when Dean Henderson is gone, or do you think this is just complete conjecture and we shouldn't read too much into it?
Well, a bit of a fun fact actually. I actually heard about this from when I was actually having the interview done for one of the outlets, and they just had it on the front page when I went onto the video call and everything. They had it in the background and that they were talking about it, doing an interview with somebody with a microphone, actually talking about Aaron Ramsdale and everything. And particularly what I actually think about it, I think that like you said, I think it's a case of they're looking at alternatives to Dean Henderson, because we heard a couple of weeks ago, it came out of the British media, particularly it came out of Sheffield, which is quite near me, realistically, for where I actually live. I live near Sheffield, and I heard a lot about it. I live near, obviously, Sheffield United fans and everything, and I speak to a couple of them who are good friends with me and whatnot, family friends. And when I actually spoke to them about it, they've actually heard things say in the Sheffield newspapers and stuff stating that Dean Henderson feels Sheffield United, staying at Sheffield United is more of a step down for him now. He thinks he's proved himself over a year with them in the Championship and now in the Premier League. He feels that he's proven to be Manchester United's number one goalkeeper, which I think is something that is obviously up for debate. I think the major thing is, at the moment, United are in contract talks with him to tie him down to a long-term contract at Manchester United, longer than the one that he's already contracted to. And I think the reason for this is, I think you'll have heard of some outlets coming out saying about reported interest of that Chelsea are interested in Dean Henderson. Now, these reports, from what I've understand when I've read a couple of newspapers from the British press. I've actually read a couple about Kepa Arrizabalaga, and it states that Frank Lampard does not see Kepa Arrizabalaga being Chelsea number one next year, possibly not even at the club if the right offer comes in for Kepa. Now, I think the main reason United have opened these contract talks is they see Dean Henderson as the ideal replacement for David De Gea in the long term, maybe in the short term. It depends what decision gets made, whether Dean Henderson will be made number one next year or not. I came on a couple of weeks ago and I stated, it was after the FA Cup game, that I don't think David De Gea is the right goalkeeper to take this club forward, because not just because of the age, because when you're a goalkeeper, age doesn't really matter. You're not running around the field all day. You know, you're standing on a line and you're saving balls at the end of the day. So I think it's a case of that Dean Henderson is obviously a younger model to David De Gea. I do see a couple of similarities. They're very good shot stoppers. I think Dean Henderson's quite good at playing, say, the ball out from the back. He doesn't make these silly errors where, you know, he'll give the ball to an attacker rather than one of his defending teammates. And I think Dean Henderson, from what I understand, wants to come back to United because he understands he'll play with better players. And now this is something that we've talked about with such as Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish come to Man United will play with better players, so he might play a lot better. You know, who knows? And I think with Dean Henderson, if he has better defenders in front of him, the quality of such as Harry Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, and if we sign a centre-back next to Maguire, I think that's an amazing prospect for him, and that's really what's interesting him. But I think it's a case of we have to wait and see, obviously, about the contract talks that are actually being held by Manchester United. If he does sign a new contract, I'd fully expect Dean Henderson to be Manchester United goalkeeper in the future. I don't think Chelsea would be able. The interest from them would be wiped straight off the board, and it would be a case of Dean Henderson will take over from David De Gea, maybe this season, maybe in the coming seasons. But my personal opinion, I think that Dean Henderson will be made number one this summer. I think he's an ideal replacement. You don't have to go out there and spend money on a goalkeeper, maybe 60, 70 million pounds on a quality goalkeeper. It's a ready-made one there. And that with Aaron Ramsdale, I think, might just prove. I think it's a case of if Sheffield United put in a second bid for Aaron Ramsdale, I think that all but confirms Dean Henderson isn't staying there on loan next summer.
Yeah,
well, next season, sorry, not summer.
To be fair, listen, I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think for me, Dean Henderson, he's done decently this season. I think he's probably up there with the likes of Pope and Edison, Allison for amount of clean sheets kept this season. I obviously he's made a few mistakes, but what goalkeeper hasn't made a few mistakes really? And I think realistically, I think in terms of who's making more mistakes right now, you probably have to say David De Gea. So in terms of current form, you could probably make an argument that Dean Henderson's a better goalkeeper on form right now than David De Gea. But obviously you think he'll be made number one. I'm not 100% sure personally, but I think it's all about David De Gea's decision. If De Gea decides he wants to leave, then I think Dean Henderson will come in straight away, no problem. But I think if David De Gea is the guy, if David De Gea wants to stay, then I don't see Solskjaer getting rid of him, because I can see that Solskjaer really trusts him. I can see that Solskjaer likes him as a player.
Yeah.
And, why not? He was obviously our player of the season 3 seasons in a row. We know he's done brilliant things for this club and realistically had a very big part in getting us to where we are now. But maybe it is time to move on to a younger model. Maybe it is. Red Devil Studio, thanks for joining, G. Appreciate it. Make sure to check out Red Devil Studio as well. Really good stuff on there if you haven't already. But I want to ask you another question, Tom, on the transfers, on the topic of different players linked to Manchester United. We talk about Henderson. Now, Jack Grealish. Now, this isn't really me reacting to any sort of news, but it's just me asking you about Jack Grealish and whether he's the right fit for the club, and do you think this is a deal that could realistically happen? I think one of the arguments that was brought up earlier in the stream was the fact that £80 million is the price that's been quoted that Manchester United would have to pay for Jack Grealish. But do you think we could really justify, in this current climate, paying £80 million for a player to be more of a rotational player? Do you think we could realistically justify that? Do you think Jack Grealish is going to come? And if he does come and we do pay the money, do you think that's a good investment?
Well, in terms of do I think him as himself would come to the club? I would think yes. Him as a player, I think he would relish the chance of switching something from Aston Villa maybe as a relegation threatening team to Man United, who are on the up and trying to get to where Liverpool and Manchester City are, absolutely. And I think he'd want to come to Man United to prove a point about his doubters, saying, maybe Bruno and Pogba would be the main starting people. Jack Grealish then can come into this team and prove a lot of people wrong. And I think it puts pressure on Pogba and Fernandes to perform week in, week out, because they know that there's an ideal person that can just be as good as them, if not better than them, in this team. And like I alluded to earlier about Jack Grealish, I think him coming into a team like Man United is going to play with better players than what's at Aston Villa, and I think he would only boost himself more to know that he's going to get the service, he's going to get the time on the ball at Man United because of the way we play. And I think a player like him suits our style of, he's not the quickest in the world, and he's not obvious, and he's not the best at maybe keeping the ball because he gets fouled that often. But I think there's very few players around like Jack Grealish. He's a very odd player because I think he's not one of a kind, because there's other players that are similar to him, such as a Maddison, very similar. But I think Jack Grealish, as a technical player, I think he's very smart. He knows the game very well. He knows when a defender or when an aggressor is going to be coming behind him, and he'll put his body out so he'll get the foul. He knows all these little nick and knacks of football. And just to give you I can give you a little bit of a report that I actually found. I think it came from Birmingham Live. You might know that that outlet.
Yeah.
Anyway, it came from there. Apparently, Manchester United have told Aston Villa and Jack Grealish that they're not willing to pay £80 million at this current time, and that if the move is to be finalised, it would have to pay with an initial fee and then a certain amount of add-ons over the next summer. Now, obviously the structure is at Man United currently we're trying to structure a deal to sign Jadon Sancho, which it would seem we would be willing to pay 60. Well, what don't want us to pay if we're going to pay in instalments is £60 million, and then the instalments over 2 years of different fees. So really, we'd be spending £60 million at Jadon Sancho in the short term. If you talk about now, we'd be spending it £60 million on him. Then you can obviously focus your attention elsewhere. Now, if I'm being honest from what I actually read, it stated that Manchester United would be willing to offer Aston Villa a fee of £60 million, exactly the same as Jadon Sancho, and then pay a £20 million instalment over the next season. Now, in terms of Aston Villa, would they be willing to accept that? That's something that's not actually been talked about. But that's just the way that Man United would try and structure a deal in this current climate, because clubs have been affected financially. Man United is no different. And it's a case of the money would be there if the coronavirus wouldn't have hit. The money would have been there to buy Sancho already, to buy Jack Grealish, but because of the effect of not having fans in the ground, not having, your sponsorships paying out and stuff because you're not promoting their brands, it affects the club a lot financially. But do I think that deal for Jack Grealish will happen? If I'm being honest, I would like him at Man United, because I think he's a good player that can prove a point, and if we get an injury to Fernandes or Pogba, then he can slot in there and play with vice versa, either one of them. So I think he's a player that can definitely improve squad depth. But realistically, I think if we sign Jadon Sancho, I can't see us doing any other mega moves. We in the long grand scheme of things, we'd have to pay 80 million to get Jack Grealish. Yeah, it'd be a 60 million fee, but you're paying 80 million, and then you're on about paying 120 million in Sancho. That's 200 million just splashed about there, pretty much.
Exactly,
So it's a case of, I think I think what I've actually heard, Man United are obviously going to go and try and get the Sancho deal done within the next week or two. And it's a case of Man United are then going to look at more cheaper targets, should we say. So say Man United want to sign a centre-back, their prime target was, I don't know, Kalidou Koulibaly. Napoli want, I don't know, 90 million euros for him, for example. Man United wouldn't pay over the odds for another player of that calibre, like I've just said with Jack Grealish. So it's a case of you look at these other centre-backs, you look at cheaper options, possibly, we would have gone for Nathan Ake, wouldn't have gone to Man City. That was a cheaper option taken there. Gabriel Martinez is another name, but the rumour has it that it looks as if he might be on his way to Arsenal more than Man United. So I think it's a case of watch this space with Jack Grealish in terms of we're prioritising another deal, and then if that deal gets done, it's something that I think United would look into doing maybe later on in the window. But it's all speculation. We don't know how long the Sancho deal might take to get done, if it's going to get done at all. But that's just my opinion, and I think that Jack Grealish would be an amazing player to have at Manchester United.
Yeah, I think. Listen, I think if Jack Grealish is happy with being, I think in terms of depth, we need to strengthen that. That's no question about it. But yeah, I think for me, if Jack Grealish is happy with doing that, then I think that would be a decent option. But I'm not sure if Jack Grealish would want to leave Aston Villa and do that for us. I don't know, especially the point he is in his career. A few people have joined us, so thank you very much to everyone who's watching right now. Really appreciate it. Welcome the Watford Hornet. Welcome Jude. Thanks for tuning in, mate. Appreciate it. Evening to you. Evening Dazza. Thanks for joining, Daz. Appreciate it. Make sure you check out Daz's football stand as well. Great stuff on there. And G says, "What's Tom's new job?" Well, I mean, Tom, I'll let you explain. But just for United Hub, thanks for joining as well. Appreciate it. But yeah, Tom, you told earlier in the call, you told us some career news, and just in case you missed it, G, this is for you, Tom. What were you just telling us?
I was just stating that I've really had a passion for journalism, particularly sports. I've loved sports from being a young boy and everything. And I've been to a couple of outlets that have kindly been interviewing for new reporters and stuff, and new, say, story writers, should we say. I've always followed media reports and journalism and stuff, and I've really had a passion for that. Really, I've not exactly lived best, but I don't really want to get into my personal life because that's why we call it a personal life. But yeah, it's something positive in my life that I'm wanting to take forward, and it's something that I've always thrived at doing, and particularly, obviously, I'm going to try and follow down the football route, but I'm happy to report on any sports in particular because, like I say, I'm a fan of sports, and if we didn't have sports in our lives, Kieran, you wouldn't be doing this show right now. 100%. Neither would G be doing his show, if there weren't sports. So I think it's credit to people who actually do the career that I'm hopefully gonna follow into. But as the weeks run on and everything, I'll definitely update people if they're interested in my particular career that I'm trying to follow up on.
Yeah, man, and as I said, we all support you, and really happy for you, mate. Hopefully it does go well for you, and hopefully you're successful. We really hope you are. But Tom, mate, thank you so much for coming on. I know there's a few people who are eager to get on, so thank you so much, Tom, mate. Really appreciate it for coming on as always. And yeah, cheers, mate. Have a good evening.
Yep. Yeah, you too, Kieran, man. See you later.
See you later, man. Appreciate it. Right, that was Tom. Lovely lad, and a new career. There you go. Bit of exciting news from Tom there. I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, amazing. Hopefully it goes well. As G says there, good to hear from Tom. Hopefully it goes well for you. Exactly, mate. We're all hoping that he's successful, and I'm hoping you guys are successful as well. Thank you to everyone who's supporting the stream, and I'll support you guys just like you are supporting me, and you're supporting everyone else that you kind of watch their streams and like their stuff. I'll 100% follow you guys. So yeah, some good news, really good news to end on. But we've got Daryl on. Daryl, thanks for joining, mate. Appreciate it as always. And by the way, guys, keep getting your comments in. I am reading the comments, so don't worry about that. And United Hub, I'll talk to you later, mate. I'll talk to you later about a thumbnail designer. I'm not 100%, like looking for one right now, to be honest. But who knows in the future? Who knows? But Daz, thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate it as always. We're talking about obviously transfers, as it says in the title, as you already know.
I was just about to say I've only just joined the stream, so I've missed everything that you said.
No worries, man.
I tell you, I have to laugh the video yesterday.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll just so if people don't know, basically what happened was, you might be thinking why wasn't there a review of yesterday's 2-1 win against Lask? And to be honest with you, there was a review. It just didn't work. It just completely. It just malfunctioned. I don't know what happened.
It was literally, the camera was. I was sat there. The camera was froze about 6 minutes, and then right at the end of the video, the only thing you heard in the video was, "We'll see you in the next one."
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm thinking, no, what a good video.
Exactly, really informative. Great content there. But no, listen, I just took it down, and then at the time, obviously, it was nearing 11 o'clock, so I was just like, is it really worth it? So I decided not to. But as I said, if you've got any questions about what I thought on the game, I'll answer them. So if you do want to know my thoughts on it,
I don't blame you for not doing it again.
Oh,
it was dying.
100%.
It was dying.
That was one of the reasons why I didn't bother doing another one.
More excitement having a dump, mate.
But anyway, yeah, good thing we're not talking about that today. We're talking about transfers. Some things a little bit more exciting, but potentially a little bit more exhausting as well. And the first one I want to talk about, Daz, is obviously Jadon Sancho. Now, you obviously watching the Bundesliga know more than a lot of people. I just want to say TTX, thanks for joining as well. He says, Sancho coming, lads. I've had a source from the Independent telling me they reached a deal and they will announce it on the 7th, which is tomorrow. Wow. TTX, I hope you're right. TTX,
never believe it.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know what to believe anymore, but you know what, TTX, if you're correct, then then I'll tell you what, TTX, if that does come true, I'll give you a mod. I'll make you mod, TTX, if that comes through. But cheers anyway, thanks for coming on, mate, appreciate it. But yeah, it does. Obviously, Jadon Sancho, you've watched the Bundesliga, and you'll have your own thoughts on Jadon Sancho, almost from an opposition point of view, considering you've been on the other end of Jadon Sancho. You've obviously, as a Bayern Munich fan, seen your team face Jadon Sancho. In terms of how the deal is looking, obviously the latest news saying that Dortmund want 120 million, but we want to pay in instalments. Do you think that Manchester United, if they were to pay only 60 or 70 million this season and then pay it in instalments, do you think then it would be worth the money, or do you think this is a deal Manchester United should abandon and look at other options?
Well, when he played against Bayern, he ended up coming on off the bench. For some reason, Favre decided not to start him, and it was probably the biggest mistake he'd ever made, because in the Bundesliga, Sancho is one of those players who can cause problems for opposition defenders, and he's a quality player. I mean, he scored 17 goals all season, slightly behind Lewandowski, but by about another 17 goals.
Yeah.
But for a right mid in a league like that, even though people say it's an easy league, and it's actually a tough league. It's been quite tough recently for every team. There was at least four teams trying to get top of the league. You had Mönchengladbach, you had Dortmund, you had, I think, Leipzig as well as Bayern. And the teams like that, they were all pushing for top place. They were top of the league at one point in the season, Dortmund, and that was because of Sancho. Sancho, he gets himself into good positions. He does well on the ball. He gets balls into the penalty area and gets himself assists. He gets involved in a lot of the game. My only concern, and this is nothing in a way to do with the price tag. Well, I'll just put it straight out there. 120 million is a lot. Because I 100% do not think he's worth it. I think he's only worth about 60, 70. But it's ridiculous how much players are these days, especially with young players. And it's a bit like, we had obviously João Felix going to Atletico Madrid for 115, and this would be probably the highest ever transfer fee for a young player, 120 mil. It's ridiculous, and I can understand why United are wanting to pay it in, in bits, really. I don't blame them. because I think he should only be 60, 70 million. Nowhere near 120. So I think Dortmund are just overpricing players at the minute.
Yeah.
But with regards to him, personally, I don't think he'll be cut out for the Prem.
Right.
And it doesn't matter which team he goes to. I think a team like Manchester United, even a team like Arsenal, so like any of the top six, any of the big six clubs, I don't think he'd do it in the Prem, and it would also depend on the style of play, because he suits Favre's style of play. But Ollie's is like, at the start of the season, it was sort of basic, trying to defend and then catch them out on the counter attack, and we've seen differences in the in performances recently, and I just don't know whether the style of play will suit Sancho whatsoever. So I don't know if he'll be cut out for the Prem, if I'm quite honest. But that's obviously a question that we'll answer later on if he does sign. But I have to say, I'm not particularly confident about Sancho going to United, even though he's had Premier League experience with Man City, and he really barely played. But I just think if he was going to go to a Premier League club, maybe a smaller club like one of the mid-table teams, Newcastle, Sheffield United, Burnley, smaller clubs like that, he would probably fit in better. I just think that Manchester United and the big six clubs is a bit of a step too high for him.
Yeah, I think, look, for me, especially with the price tag, it's going to be difficult for him to live up to that. Obviously, the fact that he's only 21, he's got a lot of potential, but I think you make a good point about whether he's cut out for the league or not. Obviously, for you don't think he'll be cut out for the Premier League, but obviously, you look at Manchester United's record of signing players from Borussia Dortmund. Henrik Mkhitaryan was Player of the Season in the Bundesliga, came to the Premier League. He did all right at the start. He had a few decent games, but really, he didn't perform well for us or even Arsenal when we traded him for Alexis Sanchez. So it didn't seem like he was cut out for the pace and for the...
Sanchez has been sold.
Exactly, yes. Sanchez, obviously, another bit of big news, of course, is the fact that his move to Inter Milan has been made permanent, which, for a lot of people is great news.
That's a shame.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, for me, Sancho, it remains to be seen. I think we can't be too quick to judge whether he will fit into the Premier League if he does it, because the proof will be in the pudding with Jadon Sancho. But yeah, I agree that I think if we were to pay in instalments, it'd probably be it'd probably be a lot better.
Yeah, be better for United.
Exactly. It'd be more worth our while. I think paying 120 million euros for a player who's 21 and hasn't really proven it in the Premier League is a little bit risky, but sometimes I guess you have to take those sort of risks. A few comments coming in. Sifo says Sancho won't sign. He has potential. He doesn't want to ruin his career at United. There you go. Well, obviously
he'd only go to Arsenal if he was desperate.
Exactly. Exactly. But I'm saying, listen. Obviously, I was going to say, coming from an Arsenal fan, it's a bit rich, but you know what? You have your opinion, mate, and I'm not surprised you have that opinion, to be honest with you. But yeah, yeah, it's on, mate. It's on TTX. It's on. As I said, if he does actually sign tomorrow, then I'll give you mod. Mate. So don't worry about that. If the deal's on, I'm not sure what I'm going to get out of it, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. So we talk about Jadon Sancho. Obviously, I'm going to bring up the same thing I talked about with Tom in terms of Dean Henderson. Now, obviously, you guys know the news that a bid has reportedly been rejected by Bournemouth from Sheffield of around £12 million for Aaron Ramsdale. Now, is this a sign that Sheffield United are planning for life after Dean Henderson? And do you think that David De Gea should be replaced by Dean Henderson, or are there better players that we should be going for if David De Gea needs to be replaced at all?
De Gea, in my opinion, has had one of the worst seasons as a United player. And I think that might be just down to his confidence, but we can't really be making up excuses. At the end of the day, he's a professional goalkeeper who has been making mistakes a bit too many times, really. And if he did get replaced by Dean Henderson, then I'm not going to lie, I think it would benefit United. But I don't see him being replaced. And obviously Aaron Ramsdale with the Sheffield United link, it could be a sign that they're looking to, that they probably won't keep Henderson. But we don't know for sure whether that's going to be the case, because at the end of the day, these are only rumours.
Yeah.
And 12 million for Aaron Ramsdale, I'd say, is reasonable. So I don't know why they've rejected it. But it's tough because you're never 100% sure with rumours whether they're going to be true or whether they're just going to be a load of, because you know what journalists and stuff are like these days. They'll just come up with any old bolt video, get some more money out of them, But I think De Gea should get replaced. I think, but he won't. I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah, I think that's a point. I think I agree with that. I think I agree with that point. I feel like David De Gea, especially after he made that mistake against Chelsea, came out and you could really see that he supported David De Gea, and he felt that he believes that he's still capable of world class level. Now, obviously that's up for debate as to whether he can still hit the heights that he was hitting realistically when his peak was for Manchester United, which was in Jose Mourinho's second season, the 17-18 season, when he was performing miracles against Arsenal and saving us so many times that season. And that was probably one of the main reasons we had such a good defensive record. But yeah, I think I think that this deal is hinging on David De Gea. As I said before, I feel like if David De Gea wants to leave, then this deal is one of the simplest deals that we're going to do. Obviously, Dean Henderson has said in the past that he wants to come back and play for Manchester United someday, and we'll be happy to take him back because he's performing really, really well. This deal all comes down to whether Solskjaer thinks David De Gea is surplus to requirements or whether David De Gea himself wants to leave, and that's what this deal is going to come down to, in my opinion. But Darryl, mate, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Sorry it's a little bit shorter than maybe perhaps hoped. Obviously, I'm aware we've got a few more people that want to get on, so we'll try and rotate. But Daz, mate, it's always great to speak to you. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. And make sure to check out Daz's football stand if you haven't already. Great stuff on there. But Daz, thanks for coming on. Hope you have a good rest of your evening, pal.
Yeah, cheers, mate. See you in a bit.
No worries, man. See you. Right, there's Darryl's views. But yeah, listen, I think Dean Henderson, whether he comes or not, as I said, is all down to David De Gea, whether he wants to stay. If he wants to stay, I think he will stay the number one goalkeeper, because I don't see Solskjaer wanting to take that away from him. I really, really don't. But I'm aware that Cassim, you wanted to call in. Obviously, Cassim from United Fan Army. So if you do want to call in, feel free to do so. Or if anyone else wants to call in who's watching right now as well, feel free to do so. Speak of the guy. Here he is. But yeah, as I say, keep getting your comments in, guys. And see you having a good debate with Sifo, TTX, all you guys. It's great to see you having a debate. Keep the debate going, lads, in the comments. I'm really enjoying reading your tweets as we go through. So comments, I should say. So make sure you continue doing that. But Cassim, mate, thanks for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it as always. Great to hear what you have to say. And yeah, make sure to check out United Fan Army as well. It's in the chat right there. Make sure to check it out. Great Manchester United and general content. Make sure you check it out. But Cassim, mate, hope you're doing well. And the first person I want to talk about, we'll change it up a little bit, and we'll start with the Jack Grealish transfer rumours potentially coming to Manchester United. A few links earlier in the transfer window, but the interest has seemingly cooled a little bit since the start of the transfer window. But Aston Villa have come out and stated that they'll want £80 million, although Tom alluded to us that Man United have told Aston Villa that they don't want to pay the £80 million. Do you think Jack Grealish would be worth it, and what role do you think Jack Grealish would play in our club if he was to join?
First of all, if I sign tired, then you know the reason why.
Yeah.
So I won't go. Yeah.
No worries, mate. No worries, mate.
This is what you get when you're a flipping teenager. Jesus freaking Christ. Alright,
I know the feeling, man. I know the feeling.
Yeah. Grealish, right? So, the last time I actually heard about Jack Grealish was like, what was it? Last 2 weeks. So, yeah, last Thursday. That was the last time I heard about Mr. Grealish. That was the time where we didn't really, be Dortmund. So basically, yeah. That was the time before, like, Dortmund actually, didn't set the deadline for Mr. Sancho. So we were interested in other players and wanted to get other deals done for Sancho. So, and then because Dortmund set the deadline, and now apparently tomorrow United will get the deal done. I mean, look, I don't. Okay, we'll get to Sancho a little bit, but Grealish, Man United were interested, but they were never gonna go in for Jack Grealish. They were never really gonna go in for Mr. Grealish, really, because his valuation was up because Villa, stayed up, yeah. And it was always going to be a hard deal if Aston Villa actually stayed up and we're still in the Premier League, and they're in the Premier League still. It's hard, isn't it? Because now we don't really have that much squad depth. Mr. Sipon, aka Mr. Simp, in the comments, had some stuff to say about United.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, not being in the. This guy's an absolute flipping clown, man. This guy. But to be fair, he has a point. He won a trophy, but the trophy doesn't really mean anything if you're not in the Champions League or if you've not won a title. Like, the FA Cup, the only way that Sipon can make an argument is basically just with Tottenham. You can't really compare Manchester United to Arsenal's season because we've done way better than them. And we've had a shocking season up until Fernandes came in. You can't compare United and Arsenal. So before Fernandes came in, then of course, I'd probably say Arsenal. I mean, it was even, but of course Sipon can have his laugh a little bit then, but you can't laugh now. We got Fernandes, Pogba, and looks like Sancho will be unveiled tomorrow. But yeah, bro, that Grealish, I'm expecting to really, really heat up after Sancho. If when we get the Sancho deal done, I expect the Grealish thing to heat up a little bit. But I don't think we'll sign him. But I mean, Simon Stone. If we don't sign Sancho, the positive is Simon Stone said that about Manchester United we're going to get 3-4 signings, remember? BBC article. So, I mean, that's a little bit of a positive, innit? But Sancho is the main man. And I really want to get to Sancho last because I want to save the best to last. But as for Jack Grealish, look, we need a midfielder. I don't know if Jesse Lingard will leave the club. Look, I've said my thing on Lingard against Leicester. I kind of want him to stay, right?
Yeah.
But if he doesn't stay, it doesn't really bother me because it's actually sad. Wait, Kieran.
Yeah.
Remember what I said on the final day? Jesse Lingard scored now, and if he keeps on scoring and turns into Jesse Lingard, we know what Lingard is, a form player.
Exactly.
He just did it the other night. So I think Jesse Lingard is not a terrible player. People need to understand what Jesse Lingard was the key to our attack against Paris Saint-Germain on the road to PSG, really, when Oli first came in. He was the key to the front three. The pressing was absolutely brilliant from Lingard. and then of course he got injured, and he wasn't the same ever since. And now he's got some goals, and he's gaining confidence back. I would keep Jay Lings, and I'd probably sell Pereira, Mata, Smalling. Smalling was interested in Juventus the other day. Those are the players I'd probably sell, but yeah, we'll see about that. So, Dean Henderson next. Give a little bit of detail on all that.
I was just gonna ask you about Dean Henderson. I just want to say welcome to A Rodriguez as well. Thanks for joining, and Brother Gaming, appreciate it. Make sure you leave a like if you aren't already, guys, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. But thanks to everyone who has been watching, appreciate it, and continues to watch as we delve into all these transfers. But yeah, Dean Henderson is the guy I want to ask you about next, Kasim. And yeah, mainly what I asked Tom and Dal. Is it David De Gea's time to be replaced? And if so, does the news that Sheffield United seem to be looking for a goalkeeper intrigue you and make you feel like maybe Sheffield United are planning for life after Dean Henderson, which means that it's looking likely that we're going to get him? Do you think that's positive if we do bring Dean Henderson in? Is it time to bring Dean Henderson in, or should we be looking at different options if we are to replace David De Gea?
This is a hard one, right? Lots of people have been on Dave's back for, I'd say they've been on his back ever since he really cost us top 4 last season, remember? And the Barcelona game. That was the thing. Everyone turned on him. I stood up for De Gea. For me, Kieran, you against Chelsea, you got a little bit passionate about David De Gea. And I was like, Kieran, nah, mate, nah. I don't care. I don't think he's at that level again. But then I watched De Gea for the past couple of years, and I was like, yes, David De Gea has carried us. David De Gea has carried us. He's basically done what Aubameyang did for Arsenal this season. Carried in the past couple of years. If he didn't make those saves, we'd be probably 5th. True. People need to understand that. People on De Gea's back. David De Gea is... I think David De Gea, if he was consistent, he probably could have been mentioned in the top 3 best goalkeepers of all time. If he was consistent, mate. And maybe
one. I think if he won a few more titles, I'd 100% agree with you. 100%. Do you think that Dean Henderson... let's say, obviously, you feel like David De Gea's, is a decent keeper. But do you feel like you've seen enough in Dean Henderson to say that A, he's going to be better than David De Gea, and B, that he'll be a good replacement for him?
Can I finish my De Gea point?
Oh, sure. Go, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So, yeah, of course I said about De Gea. So, honestly, David De Gea is one of those players that can single-handedly win you a Champions League or a Premier League if he's being consistent, let's be honest. But we'll see. As for Henderson, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't really care about Sheffield United, and I didn't even know Dean Henderson was on loan, for God's sake. I only knew he was on loan up until the Liverpool game, so I was basically on my couch, just watching, just random TV, movie. Then I put the Liverpool game on just in case it was 0-0. Then soon he made a mistake and it was 1-0 to Liverpool. I've seen Henderson a few times. I think he's a decent keeper, but I don't think he has it really in the top level just yet. It's too young for him. I think give him a little bit more experience, like 2 years. I mean, it's kind of an ultimatum. If Sheffield are looking for a new goalkeeper, unless they're looking for a backup, I don't know. But if they're looking for a new first-team goalkeeper, then Henderson apparently is interested in Chelsea.
Yeah.
So, that's all you can say, Kieran, right? Honestly, man, like this club's going to kill me one day. Honestly, I mean, they could have loaned, I don't know, Henderson to flipping Brighton or something. Not even Brighton. Who has a shit keeper in the Premier League? I mean,
Burnley.
Everton.
Yeah, Everton's a good shout. Yeah.
I mean, Burnley have Pope, so.
True.
But Everton's Pickford, so. Like, he could have moved to Everton for like 2 years or something. I don't know about Henderson. Very good young player. Could help us play. I think he's probably better than De Gea, like going out from the back, passing out. But people need to understand De Gea is actually, he's actually improved a little bit with his passing out from the back, De Gea. But we'll see. That's all I can say.
Yeah. I think that is also a debate whether it's too young for him, whether it's too early for him. Finally, I want to talk. Obviously, you want to give your thoughts on Jadon Sancho. Leave the best till last. And I remember actually, Tom. Yeah, you're right. We did forget to talk about Sancho when you were on, Tom. So yeah, I could potentially. If you really want, have a chat about Sancho, we can do. If you have some, I know you definitely got some interesting things to say about him, as we discussed last. Well, I think it was
Adam. If he's available, Adam.
Okay, right. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Wait.
Tom, mate. If you wanna come on now, I can add you to the call. But yeah. I guess, Cassim, mate. Your thoughts about Sancho. What are your final thoughts about Jadon Sancho?
I'll wait for Tom to come up about thoughts on Sancho, so I'll just give my last views about Henderson. So Henderson, of course, he's a very decent keeper. I would say, young, good keeper. I'd probably say he's should be England's number one because England have shit keepers except from him and Pope. So I think Nick Pope deserves it more. I think Nick Pope, for me, he's a Man City, Liverpool goalkeeper. Nick Pope is very good quality, and he should be looking out from Burnley and go to the top club. I wouldn't mind if Henderson leaves. Nick Pope would be our future, But yeah, what are your thoughts about Nick Pope, Kieran?
Nick Pope, listen, I don't see him leaving Burnley, but I think Nick Pope's been very good this season. You have to say he has been very, very solid this season. I think got one of the record amount of clean sheets. He's been very impressive, especially when Joe Hart was the keeper that was behind him, and a lot of people were probably thinking Joe Hart's better, but he's come in and been brilliant for Burnley and been one of the reasons why they're not fighting a relegation battle. They are where they are, and I think he's been brilliant. And whether I think he could be gunning for number one, England number one. I think Pickford has not been brilliant this season. He has not been up to scratch really. So I think a lot of people would be happy with Pope getting his chance at number one, and why not? Football Crew Show, by the way, thanks for joining, mate. Really appreciate it. And also TTX says there's news about a director of football. There you go. Well, listen, I feel like, to be honest with you, they always seem to brief about a director of football whenever the transfer window's on, just to kind of appease the fans when deals start stalling and stuff like that. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that with the guys I have on the call right now. And Football Cruiser says I'd definitely bring Henderson and sell Lee Grant. Yeah, well, to be fair, Lee Grant has probably played 3 times for Manchester United, and that's not including the pre-season friendlies that he plays in. So yeah, maybe it's time to sell Lee Grant and give him to another home. Also, Football Crew Show says if the deal is not done by tomorrow, can you see it happening near deadline day? And to be honest with you, with these big money deals, if it is true that Manchester United are so far away from Dortmund on the valuation, I can see the deal dragging on, and I know that Tom has a lot of views as well, so I'm sure we'll get into that. But go on, Cassie, mate.
Lee Grant, guy, he couldn't even save like 9 penalties. So, of course, we had the game against Flippin Derby. God forbid we watch that again. My man didn't even save one shot.
There was
from,
Alkmaar where we lost 2-0. Not Alkmaar, Astana, wasn't it? We lost 2-1 there. He played in there.
Yeah, but I wouldn't really blame it on him. It was just it was our young team that really plays. I wouldn't really blame it on him then. But my man didn't even save one penalty from 9, man. Flipping hell, bro. Like, he couldn't even save one penalty from 9. My man has worse saving accuracy than probably Jordan Flippin Pickford. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
That guy. Yeah, just sell him. You know. I mean, Romero's a very good keeper, but his positional thing is trash, bro. His position when shots come in, it's not good. Like, if he was playing against Man City at Liverpool, he'd just get annihilated. So, I mean, let's be honest, De Gea is the better keeper. You can't lie. But yeah, mate. Go on then.
Yeah, obviously. Well, yeah, obviously. Listen, this is this is probably one of the final bits of the whole stream. So if you are still watching, make sure you're still watching, because I'm sure it's going to be a very, very good debate, conversation, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, obviously Jadon Sancho. Now, both of you have saved the best to last, really. I haven't actually... well, firstly with Tom, I have to apologise. I completely forgot to ask you about Jadon Sancho.
It's fine,
so
man.
I apologise about that. But yeah, I haven't actually asked Cassim about Sancho either. But I know that you guys probably differ slightly in the opinions on Jadon Sancho. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I'm going to start with Cassim. Cassim, mate. First of all,
Kieran, man, don't give me more sleepless nights, bro. Don't give me more sleepless nights. Do not give me more sleepless nights, okay?
Listen,
I'm not looking for an argument. I'm looking for a nice, developed chat. I'm not looking for flipping headaches. I've got one headache already.
Listen, trust me. It's okay. You know what? Instead of an argument, let's call it an informed debate. It's an informed debate about Jadon Sancho. No arguments. And firstly, I want to ask you, mate. Obviously, we've heard from Daryl, who said that if we had to pay the 120 million, it wouldn't be worth it at all for Jadon Sancho. And actually, Jadon Sancho realistically is probably only worth 50-60 million. That's what Daz has said, or maybe 60-70 million, I think he said. Would you agree with Daz's point of view there? Do you think that if Manchester United were forced to pay the 120 million euros, do you think that's too much? And if it did come to that, should we pull out of the deal? Or do you think Sancho's too good a target to miss out on?
Tom, you go first, mate. You go first, because you didn't have your say.
Okay.
You go first, mate.
Tom, mate, I guess that I'll just ask you the same thing that I asked Cassim then, really. Do you think that Jadon Sancho is worth it? Do you think he's worth the 120 million euro price tag if we were to pay it all in full, if we were forced to? And if that was the case, do you think that we should potentially be looking at other targets? Or do you think that if we are do you think Jadon Sancho is the right guy to come in anyway? Do you think United are taking a big risk? What are your thoughts overall?
Well, with any deal that you do, probably over the £50 million mark, there's always a risk over a player. You know, there was the risk that would Fernandes turn out okay. There was the risk of would Pogba be the player that we bought him for when we bought him back from Juventus. You know, there's always a risk around a player. I think the fee that we're expected to pay, I think, is very unreasonable, if I'm being honest. I think I would value him maybe a little bit more than what Dad has said, maybe toward the 80 million, maybe £100 million mark. But you know, we're going into triple figures here. You know, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. You know, 120 million euros. I know a player like Neymar, Messi would go for triple figures, but come on, he's like 20 years old. Yeah, he's an amazing talent, and I think he's going to possibly go on to be a future Ballon d'Or contender, maybe in the future. Alongside players such as Mbappe, who are still young, you know,
and Rash,
and Rash. But you know, so I think obviously there's the risk over it. I'm gonna be honest. I did find a couple of reports about the deal that had possibly been talked about. It appears to me that Jadon Sancho has made it his aim that he's personally himself contacted Manchester United's. I can't remember what the job title was. Anyway, he's talked to somebody at Man United over his contract situation and everything, and the terms for him as a player to come to Manchester United. That's all agreed, 100%. I found this out from the German outlets that kindly had a translated script that you could read in English, so it was kind of good from that. And I think, a player like Sancho, if we do miss out on him, it's going to be disappointing for fans. But a good motto that Sir Alex Ferguson always said was, if you miss out on a player, there's always a player just as good as them, if not better than them, that you can get. He didn't always get the player that he wanted at Ferguson, but he always bought somebody else.
News.
So it's a case of, I think Jadon Sancho, it's an unreasonable figure. Do I think Man United in the long run are going to have to pay it? Like James Cooper said, it's basically a game of poker, really. Who's going to blink first? It's like the OK Corral here, and who's going to fire the gun? And I think obviously with Man United, when we went into the Wan-Bissaka deal, our hand was forced to pay the money for him. Same for Harry Maguire, same for Fernandes. And I wouldn't expect anything different here for Jadon Sancho. Like I said, when we were post-match on the last game and everything, once I've slept on it and everything, I've had time to actually read some more news about it and everything. I have got a little bit more I'd say I've gone more, 40-60, should we say. I'm getting slowly back there. But but one thing I don't understand, and I just want to put this to you, Cassim, and you, Kieran, as well, is right. We've agreed personal terms with the player. So Manchester United and Jadon Sancho, there is a contract line there. So the personal terms on a contract for him is agreed, right? Why have we agreed personal terms with a player that we're not prepared to pay the fee to buy? So it's a case of we've agreed terms with a player that we're not prepared to pay for. We're not prepared to pay the fee to get him. I don't really understand that. When you do a deal, you agree a fee, you contact the player, you get the deal, you get everything with the player done. They have the medical, they sign. It happened with Manchester City. Man City signed 2 players in 2 days, and 2 players that have gone for reasonable fees. Let's not beat around the bush. They've gone for 60 million. Both of them, if you put both fees together, they've gone for about 60 million. It's not. So Manchester City bought 2 players in 2 days, but it seems with Man United, and I know Jadon Sancho is a bigger player and a harder deal to get struck. But there was also the news that broke. Apparently, an agent, somebody Lichtsteiner, is like the broker, should we say, in negotiations between Man United and Borussia Dortmund. This was actually tweeted by Fabrizio Romano, so 9 times out of 10 the he says is true. And when he actually thought that, I thought, so why is there a person in the middle? Why is there no direct contact between Man United and Dortmund? Like we've been told, there's direct contact between both clubs, but it doesn't seem that way when you've got an agent in the middle who's on the phone basically to Dortmund. Dortmund are feeding information to United. United are feeding information back. Why is there no direct contact? I don't understand it really. And this, I don't think Ed Woodward knows how to do negotiations. Like I say, we've agreed terms. We've agreed a contract with a player, but we haven't agreed a fee for him. It makes no sense to me.
Mr.
So
Tom.
that's just what I think anyway. Yeah, go on, Cassim.
Mate.
So I want to bring in some news about Mr. Pogba.
This is breaking news, by the way. Just hold that thought just a second. I just want to say welcome to Imo Hersey as well. Thanks for joining. And he said we need Grealish more than Sancho. If Bruno gets injured, we become a mid-table team, and I think that's a decent point. Thanks for joining, Imo Hersey. Hopefully you're enjoying the debate. And also TTX says you can contact the player's agent nowadays before an agreed fee between the clubs. So there you go. That seems to be so. Apparently you can contact the player's agent and get a personal terms agreement done without the club even knowing, which is kind of mental when you think about it. So who knows what deals are being done without the club knowing? Or it's but obviously, agents. That's the sort of thing that goes on these days. But yeah, getting back to your point, Kasim. Sorry for cutting you off there, mate. What was the news?
Hello, is anyone there?
Yeah, we're here.
Yep. Kasim, mate, what is the news?
So just a podcast clip that's not going around Twitter that much. Paul Pogba, apparently Manchester United and Pogba have a feeling, they're feeling positive for each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like a new deal might be bound very, very soon. But that's the rumour basically. Pogba and Manchester United are now on good terms, and the deal could be done. So I've said ever since lockdown, really, I expect Pogba to stay because he didn't look like he wanted to leave in those training videos. And I honestly think Paul wants to stay. He wants to stay with the GOAT Rash. He wants to stay with the best striker in the world, Tony.
I don't think anybody can avoid him anyway, if I'm being honest.
No.
That's going to be over 100 million.
I think even more, mate. I think potentially could even more. But yeah, Cassie, mate, sorry, go on.
So yeah, that's very interesting. Sancho, I'm going to bring Mr. Jadon in. Look, tomorrow's Friday, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, it's Friday. Sorry. I don't know what day it is. No, it is Friday. It is Friday. You're right. Sorry. Carry on. I'll stop interrupting.
Today's Friday. When the hell is Friday?
No, it's Friday tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
You're right. You're right. Sorry, I had a moment. Don't worry. Carry on.
Okay. I thought you. As I said, Kieran, don't confuse me.
No, sorry.
But
don't worry.
Yeah. Look, Sancho's August 7th. TTX. What did he say again? He was like he's gonna get unveiled tomorrow. Apparently.
That was a predicted TTX made. And if it comes right,
I don't think he would get unveiled. I think there might be something like a deal might be struck. An agreement on say the fee or something. I don't think a deal can be done. That quick. If I'm being honest, regarding
let's be honest, right? Sancho, if he doesn't sign, wait, how long is the German flight to England? First of all,
or a couple of hours.
Yeah, a couple of hours.
If it's 4 or 5 hours, let's be honest, up until probably midday, or not even midday, probably till 11 a.m. So Sancho will have to get the transfer fee agreed, then get to England, and then 2 o'clock do his medical, and then 6 o'clock sign. I don't know about if that's gonna happen. There's more chance of me signing from flipping Manchester United. To be fair, I'm a decent centre back, so
But him sitting in the shop window, I see.
yeah.
Ed Woodward's gonna be on the phone tomorrow.
Woodward, right? If you wanna call me, I've got lots of stuff. I need to make a career. I need earn money. So, give me the money. And hopefully I can become a United player. Jokes aside, Mr. Sancho, and seeing United Mark and Mr. Baldy Terry from Football Terrace talking about him getting done tomorrow. There's actually been, for the first time, I don't know, since we got the Champions League, which Sipon will never hear for the next 5-10 years. But to look, Sancho, for the first time in 2 weeks, there's not been any news about Sancho today. This was the same with Bruno Fernandes on the week that he signed. Look, I think the deal might be done tomorrow or maybe even Sunday. But I was trying to get...
Catherine, what do you think? So if you think that a deal is going to happen tomorrow, whose hand do you think it's going to be forged? Do you think it's going to be Man United's going to pay the fee that Dortmund want, or are Dortmund going to lower the price? Because it's stalemate now.
I say Dortmund will lower the price. I think I think we know that what United do when they then they don't want to pay a flipping fee.
Yeah,
Like,
that's just Ed Woodward.
No, I know. No offense, Kieran. If you do blow this out, I don't know if you can do it in a live stream. But United are such greedy bastards. Really, they are. They don't. Why do they not want to pay the flipping money? Like, if you win the Premier League or something, right? You earn more money from that, and you get more Champions League money. Like, what's the issue, man? They're so greedy, it's unreal. Look. Sancho, Liverpool, Chelsea are not in for him. Havertz is still in Europa. August the 10th is the flipping deadline.
That's going to get extended. I just think that was something that they've thrown in to throw us, like a spanner in the works. And if I can just say this quickly, I've said it's like a stalemate. Just to prove my point, Dortmund came out with that, obviously about. What I've just said and everything, that they've used that as basically their bargaining chip to say we're not budging, and then Man United, they've used the media by stating, oh, we're going to walk away from the deal if Dortmund are not careful. It's just mind games, and it's like I've said about Ed Woodward a lot, and we can go back to two deals, Ousmane Dembele with Borussia Dortmund and the Aubameyang deal. Right, both Barcelona Chiefs and the Arsenal Chiefs even actually flew to Dortmund to actually speak face to face with the directors there and the player. Why isn't Ed Woodward doing this? And it's not a case of the same job description, because it's only just the exact same. And like we said about technical director and everything. The technical director wouldn't be sitting here now, in England, parting about over the phone or using an agent. They'd be over there, Kieran, on a flight, speaking to him in the morning, and that's how you get deals done quicker in person. When you actually think about it in life, you get things done a lot quicker in person than over a telephone. Yeah. Let's be honest. So it can, and this is why I think it's taking so long, because Edward was not shipping out there. He didn't go down to Leicester and speak to Leicester Chiefs about Harry Maguire. Didn't do it about Fernandes, and this is what I mean. He does it all from a telephone, and this is what's wrong with such as Ed Woodward. He needs to change, or he needs to appoint somebody to take over from him in terms of running the football of the club.
Tom, to be fair, United are flying out to Germany in the next couple of days for the Europa League, so that's all I'm.
Yeah, but say. I mean, particularly like Ed Woodward, who's in charge of transfers.
He'll probably come. He'll probably be there because of Sancho. Let's be honest, he'll probably will come.
I don't know.
They'll probably announce him in Germany.
After the Europa League final.
I don't know.
What take him on playing back home after winning Europa League or something?
But lads,
fly back to Manchester.
The kit launches tomorrow.
Oh, true. Well, you never know. Maybe Sancho's going to come out in his number 7 shirt.
At the end of the video, number 7, Sancho just rises up and just lifts the United shirt. That'd be scenes, man.
On
to be
that
fair,
note,
I'm gonna screenshot that. I'm gonna screenshot that so I get more followers on Twitter.
On that note, lads,
right,
I'm gonna have to. I think we're probably gonna end it. But thank you so much for coming on, guys. Really appreciate it. Make sure you check out United Fan Army as well as all the other channels mentioned on today's stream. But yeah, guys, thank you so much to everyone for watching. Thank you to Tom, Daryl, Cassie,
everybody like the vid and subscribe to Red Devil Weekly for Kieran and everything. Definitely show him your support as much as he wants to show your support.
So subscribe to Mr. Key.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Is it Key's K-size? Is it that your channel, or is it are you doing the other one?
No, it's yeah, fun.
Oh right.
K-size my street. K-size my real name.
Oh right, okay, fair. Well, there you go. You learn something new every day. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And cheers to Tom and cheers to Cassim for coming on. Appreciate it, lads. Hopefully you have a good rest of your evening. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll be live for... I'm not sure if I'll go live tomorrow with Jadon Sancho signs. We'll see. I doubt it. I do doubt it, to be honest. But you never know in football. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers for support. Really appreciate it. And yeah, see you later.